G'day team, PD checking in with another product unboxing and just a bit of a review. So today we've got, I'm putting in the truck this Alpine amplifier. I've had a bit of issue with some noise in the truck and people not being able to hear me very clearly, so I think there's a bit of noise through there. Been through a bit of troubleshooting, can't seem to figure it out. So I'm hoping to keep the speakers independent of the system and see what we can do, because at the moment I've got some infinity reference component splits in the back. So why I chose this Alpine, the model number is MRV-F300. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so it's MRV-F300. I bought this some time ago and it's just been laying around the garage, so I thought, why not, I'll give it a crack. So I bought that one because it doesn't need an RCA input. So on the PX Ranger, the factory stereo doesn't have an RCA out. So what it does is it runs this line in, which is front left, front right, rear left, rear right speaker signal wire. So what I'm doing is going to be wiring that up. You can essentially build this loom to go to the factory speaker wires, which are in the back of the head unit. So I'm going to be using the J-car cable for that. I think this is going to be massive overkill, but better to do that than have it run short. So this is the 19 by 1.8 mil. I think that's good, 15 or 30 amps. So that should be good. Going to try out the new cable cutters, which would be sweet. And with that, that's then going to go, and I'm going to be using this Aerpro kit to connect up from the battery through to the amp. I'm pretty impressed with the actual kit. So it's got your main power lead, taking direct power from the battery. Like, that is just absolutely massive. That's the max core, what does that say? It's the max core 4 gauge. So we've got the actual terminal connector which will run through to the battery. That's all pretty sweet, crimped off with the double pole clamps there. They look pretty sweet. It's also got like a braided shielding. It feels like cloth with like a nylon kind of plastic coating, and then it runs into this mega inline fuse. That's going to be massive overkill. I think that's rated at, I don't know, it looks pretty big. Yeah, shit, that's 120 amps. It says it just there. I'm not too sure if that's clear, but that's bloody out of control. That PC little amp, I think, only runs about 70 watts, maybe 70 watts RMS per channel. So that's pretty cool. I also bought from J-car some of these Duratech step downs. So they're Crimp Ferrule 8 org. Ivory 5-pack. So what I'm trying to do with that is, when the actual power lead comes into the truck cabin and to the amp, I need this 4 gauge to step down to that terminal. So it's a bit neater than the old twist the wire trick. So then that's going to come in and hit this battery input screw down terminal. So that'll be pretty sweet, pretty tricky install. So I got those from the guys at J-car. I also picked up these, which I'm not going to need. This was going to be for the battery terminal in the engine bay. This one here I'm also going to run from the negative side from the amplifier, probably to under the seats. So once again, the Aerpro kit has come with some pretty hectic gear. That's also 4 gauge. Max core 4 gauge. Didn't realise it had already been tied off with a circle punched out hole. That's probably going to be too small for your actual passenger seat bolts, which go down to the car floor, so I'd probably have to cut out that and make it more of a C, so that'll work. What I also didn't realise is that Aerpro kit, which is pretty comprehensive, came with pretty much all that shit anyway, so it was a double buy, but who cares, I wanted it all in one spot. With it being public holiday today, I didn't want to ferry back and forwards trying to get parts and shit, and if they were closed I'd be stuffed, so that's good. So that'll be wiring in the loom. So what I did get, so I got all my manuals printed off. This was bloody absolutely ridiculous to read in every language. All the safety Nancy guff at the start, blah blah blah. So what I was after is this wiring diagram. It's pretty convoluted to the actual step down points to give me the reference for what each of those cables do and which speaker wire it goes to. So from stepping through that, I definitely had to have my glasses on. So we've got this ledger here which explains the actual speaker cable colours from that loom. So that should be pretty straightforward. Use the J-car cable, some heat shrink, get them across to there, and that's your other 4. So cool beans on that one. Now I've also had this one from a while. I purchased this soldering iron from eBay. It looked pretty cool. I've previously used Big Shane from Eagles Auto Electricians, Milwaukee. That's pretty trick. Called the soldering iron. I was really impressed with that. I was almost ready to buy one of those, but being in the Dewalt ecosystem, I thought I'd see what else is available. So these guys on eBay, Tin Mori 3D printing filament, create something wonderful. These guys are Aussie based. It's made in China. It's got all what the kit comes with. It's just bloody impressed with this guy. Had some initial issues with it. So that's what you get in the box. So this is the actual unit, which is for a Dewalt battery. They sell them for all the big brands, for Makita, Milwaukee, Bosch, whatnot like that. So being a Dewalt boy, I got the Dewalt one. The initial issues I had were with the actual soldering wand. So you get one in the kit, and then you also get some different tips. So they got all these cool tips for different applications, different thicknesses here. So here's one that's out of the box. So this one is T12 D24. So that's your actual soldering tip there. I've then got these porcelain separators. I'm assuming that one of them is going to be positive, one of them is going to be negative to get your power to heat up, essentially what is an element. So when I first received this, I got the unit and the heat wand. So connected it all up. It's got like this XLR style connector there with a spinning lock nut. So you can see there you've got your locator XLR. So you just plug that guy in. That's super solid, good quality. Then you spin on your ring. So it's got a good purchase on there. It's not going to come off. Then you get your battery. These are the new Dewalt Powerstacks. These things have been absolutely brilliant. Makes every one of my tools super light now. I've previously been using the 54 volts, which switched down to the 18, and that makes everything just heavy as a cinder block. So this is the Dewalt Powerstack, which has been bloody game changer for me. Super compact, super light. These run, I think, LiPo cells in that instead of your traditional 18650s. There you go, lithium ion. So that's pretty much, that's tiny, looking at the size of that. I really rate these, and I'm definitely going to buy more. So that is the DCB P034 Dewalt, 1.7 amp hours, 18 volts rated. 30.6 watt hours. So I guess in time I reckon Dewalt's going to release these in a bigger milliamp hour size so they can go for a bit longer, but that is bloody brilliant. So with your actual soldering iron, you just get the guy, plug it straight in, so that's cool. You've got your adjustment wheel here. There's also a USB outlet, which is bloody handy as. And then you've got your power on off button, so you turn it on, it'll come up with the actual Crossfire. I'll just do that again so you can see it. That's off and then on. Pretty trick LCD screen, LED, whatever, and you can just see that guy fire up, and it just climbs so quick and so hard. You can set your temperature here. It's full adjustable with this wheel. And look at that, that's already scorching. Starting to get some smoke off that tip as well too before, because I did test it. Yeah, so that's already smoked off. So what I found with these initially, and then it'll give you a chime bip that we've hit temperature. That's good. So I'll just switch that off. Yeah, because that's hot. So what happened initially is I got the unit, plugged it all in, and it wouldn't work. So this LCD would fire up, and then I'd get this, no tool error, no tool error, no tool error. So I sent the guys on eBay a direct message telling them that it didn't work and that I couldn't get it to fire up. So they sent me back all the Nancy questions. Is your battery charged? Yes. Have you pushed the power button? Yes. Have you screwed on the thing? Yes. So we went back and forwards for a bit. So imagine that we'd get a few Harrys asking some stupid questions, but I'm no expert at electronics, but you know, I've given it a go heaps of times and know pretty much what's going on. So then they sent me a new wand with a new tip in there, and they sent it with previously I'd testing it because you could see it's got all the heat markings on it, which is cool. So they've definitely tested that one, and they've confirmed that it does work. So once again, plug that guy in, screw your guy on, and then it's detected the tool automatically. I hadn't turned it off, so there you go, fire straight up. This thing is bloody brilliant. So I still just couldn't figure out why it didn't work, and me liking to do a bit of tinkering, I was happy that it did work. I didn't really have time, but what I found with that initial wand that was sent to me, so to change the tips, whatnot, you can actually break this full unit down. That's still a bit hot anyway, so spin that right off. Oh, that shroud comes out. That is very, very hot. So these two, this stays, you swap out your tip. So what I found actually in there, when you unscrew this, you can then get inside the actual wand. And I reckon what had happened in there is that there's some spring clips on either side of your poles. I'll show you. I think maybe this one here. I'm not too sure. Previously, I'm sure I had this off. I think maybe you either push that. There you go. You get this cable, so I guess you shouldn't really have to do this. You push that cable and the whole internal net comes out. So you can see you've got your wires coming in, which connect up to the unit, which would do the temperature control, all that kind of jazz. So it's these connectors here, which I then bent in. So bent that guy in, bent that guy in, same up the top here. And then that tool's now working. So it must have been part of their, I don't know, quality control. It wasn't tested, but that's what I found. And then it picked up the actual tool. So with these clamped in, it's definitely going to mate and connect up to this end. So connection, then that did work. So I think that's a bit beyond, you know, general enthusiast, whatever, for soldering, because, you know, you'd expect it to work out of the blocks. I'll pull all that back together, but bloody impressed with that tool. That's an absolute ripper. It's going to be super handy for me rather than trying to run leads in into the cab while I'm trying to do soldering, which is a pain in the ass. We've got those old style welders or whatever. These are also going to be a game changer for me. Trying to do shit on mine's never really been my strong point, doing fiddly shit. So these arms are going to screw into the sides. It's a bit tight, so I won't do it just now because I need to make sure that's in square. Even trying to reverse thread to locate it and then screw it in, that's a bit eggy going. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. Why not? Yep, there we go. So just a bit of force, that is in square. Probably don't need to go in all the way because that's solid as. You can see all the markings on this. This is 3D printed. It's all super good quality. Yeah, it just feels just solid as. So to me, that is square. So, yeah, that'll hold. So that's pretty firm. Might need to get a spanner on that if you really want to do it up. So these are going to make it super easy for me with your alligator clips coming across. So it can hold the wire to be joined in the center. That way I don't have to hold the wire. Hold the wire with one hand together to the two sides and then try and solder it and shit going everywhere. So that's going to be a game changer for me. And especially with it being cordless, it can go anywhere. So that's going to be bloody brilliant. So I've printed out all the wiring diagrams, trying to find the actual factory wiring for the PX range has been a bit of a nightmare. Not too sure if this one's right or what, but I've already tapped the speaker wires to the Pioneer under seat subwoofer, so I'll just be able to go off those, I reckon. So I'll go off the factory speaker wires, which will supply the Alpine. I'll actually cut them off at the back of the head unit, then the Alpine wiring will get the input from the back of the head unit, and then the output from the Alpine head unit will then make a loom, build that back up to the back of the head unit, and then they'll go directly to the factory wiring. I couldn't be bothered to rewire the whole truck. I think those Ford wires are more than fine. It's only doing component splits, which aren't massively power hungry, but hopefully that takes the actual audio side out of that head unit's equation and I'll be able to get clearer phone calls. So that's a bit of an update from me. Very impressed with that Aerpro wiring kit. This is an absolute ripper. I'm going to do everything properly and just mark all the cables out because following the 7Ps has always got me out of trouble, so that's piss poor. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. 6Ps, lol. So I'm going to take them all off and then write on them what's what. So a bit more future proof. I've also got from J-Car this solder wire Duratech. Never really given that a go. All my stuff's bloody old as, so give that a go. That's a fat one. That's the fat wire. It's still relatively skinny, I guess, in the scheme of soldering wire. And this one here is your super dainty, so that's probably not quite the thickness of a paper clip. Oh, pretty close. Then that one there's going to be easy as because it's super thin to tin the wires and whatnot. But I guess with that ripper of a wireless soldering iron, you have no dramas. I'm also going to do a proper loom, not with Nido electrical tape this time. It does get a bit sticky over time. I got this from Super Cheap. I wanted the actual cloth tape, which is more of like clothy on the outside, but this is as close as they had. It feels alright. So this is the cling tape, cloth tape, 48mm by 25 meters. It is Henkel brand. I haven't really felt this, but I think it's definitely going to do a better job than electrical tape. It's pretty sticky, so that's definitely going to work. Trying to get a start on that's a bit. How you going? Oh yeah, so that's pretty flexy. Feels almost just like a webbed tape, but it's nice feel to it. That's pretty smooth. That sticky's pretty good, so you'll be able to build a loom, wrap around that, so that'll be cool. Righto team, that's all my toys. Hopefully get all this installed today, or at least get a start on it. And yeah, we'll check in to give you an update. See you team.